Welcome. So we inserted some data. Now we're going to update some data. So we're going to look back at our table. We inserted two values. We inserted Jersey Shore and Dinah Shore, right? When you are updating a table or anything on a database, what you typically want to do is make sure that you give each one of them a unique identification so that we're making sure that we're updating the right person. You can have two people named John Smith, right? But you need to make sure you understand that it's John Smith from Ohio and not Nevada that wants to update his information on your server. So good practice is to make sure you give it ID. Problem is, I didn't do any of that, right? I just wanted to play around with the database, and now I want to update some things. So there's a way for you to update and target a specific row. In this case, we're going to target Jersey, the Jersey Shore, and we're going to change this first name to Herbert. Okay. So there's some code I had to write in order to make that happen. So we're going to go back here, and here's the code that I wrote. Here's the function that I wrote. Now, I designed this in a particular way so that when I run this function, you see this new thing here. Didn't have it here. We didn't have anything in these parentheses here. Didn't have anything in these parentheses here. What these parentheses allow you to do is to pass in variables, to pass in data, and then the function will take in that data that you gave it and then do things with it and update something or return a value or whatever it is you want to do. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to pass in data. So I'm passing in this new variable called name, and the type of data it is a string. Okay, we got that. Same thing we did like last time. We're going to get a connection and we're going to hold on to that connection, right? And then we're going to utilize it here in our try statement. If it doesn't work, we're going to try to update our data. If it doesn't work, we're going to catch the exception and log the error. So similar things from this Java.SQL package. We have a prepared statement. I called it update. That's the name I gave it. I'm saying, okay, I want you to take that connection that we got and I want you to prepare a statement or give it a statement. Okay. Now, here's where the SQL gets funny. We're going to call update because that's the method, that's the function or the action we want to take on our table. We want to update our persons table, and we're going to set. What we're telling this thing to do is we're going to set this first name value to whatever we give it. So in this case, we're giving it the name Herbert. So I want you to set this first name value to Herbert. Okay. Then we're going to go on where first name is Jersey and the last name is Shore. So again, we're saying, hey, computer, wherever you see that the first name is Jersey and the last name is Shore, okay, I want you to set the first name equal to whatever value I give you, in this case Herbert, and update that connection. Update that data. Got it? Really, it's a little bit convoluted, but at least it worked the last time I did it. Before we execute this connection, we're going to talk about this thing right here. So there's a reason why I have it written this way, and I'm just going to play around with some things just to show you. If I change that to name, this value, if you look outside of your statement is already has double quotation marks, okay? So it doesn't really like using them again inside the quotation marks. We don't really like having double quotation marks inside double quotation marks. We can put single quotation marks inside double quotation marks, okay? So problem is when I put name, if you look back, you can see that the name is now grayed out, right? Because we're not utilizing it anymore. What I'm telling this thing is that wherever you see the word Jersey Shore, I want you to update the first name to name. But that's not what I want to do, right? So I'm going to put it back. And I know you're thinking, well, why don't we just do... Again, we can't do it this way because it doesn't like it. Okay, it's expecting you to end it. Since we started our SQL statement with a quotation mark, whenever we should only end our SQL statement with a quotation mark. And you putting quotation marks inside of quotation marks is confusing the computer and telling it that you want to end the statement, but it doesn't really know what's happening anymore. So we're going to change that. Sorry, I gotta keep going back. What's happening here is what we call concatenation. Now, if you don't know what concatenation is me adding something onto something else. And we can concatenate strings with variables so that we can, display information to a user or display it to a terminal. So here's just a quick, I can't spell, but some pseudocode. We have a variable. It's a string type. That's why we put these quotations around it. We called it time. And then on this new line, we have a new string, right, in quotation marks. This is a space that I put there. And we're going to concatenate or add onto this string here, this variable time. When we do that, our output is going to be string, space, and then time. We're just adding variables to strings. And that's pretty much what's happening here. We're concatenating this variable to a string. And then that string is going to sit inside those single quotation marks. Okay. That's it. I'm not going to explain it anymore at the risk of confusing people beyond anything. So I'm going to call this thing, but it's like, hey, something's wrong. You're telling me that you're going to give me a string. You haven't given me a string yet. I say, you're right. I haven't given you a string yet. I'm going to give you a string, and I'm going to say Herbert because I want to update Herbert. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a string. Everything looks good. Let's hope everything works. Let's see. Okay, no errors. Our update succeeded. Let's refresh everything, and we're gonna rerun our query. And sure enough, we used to have Jersey, now we got Herbert, and we've updated our data. See you later.